Okay, so a leader, let's understand who a leader is, right? Can anyone be a leader, or or a leader has certain specific qualities? And what are those qualities? Let's try to understand that, right? So first quality that a leader must have is that he knows the way, right? I'll tell you what is the meaning of this. Just let's go through the. I'll share one example to make all of you understand this. But a leader, definitely cannot be one that who doesn't know the way, right? Uh, let's say you have a cricket team, right? And the cricket team, you don't make a captain who is not who doesn't know to play cricket, right? You don't make a coach who doesn't know to about cricket. Definitely, if one wants to become a leader there, he definitely has to know the game, right? He definitely has to uh, be a champion of that game, right? So the leader knows the way. That is the first quality. Second quality is he goes the way, right? So just knowing is not enough. Let's say someone knows something. Let's say someone knows very nicely to play cricket, but he is not ready to play cricket, or let's say he is not ready to lead. In that way, he cannot be a leader, right? Because he is reluctant to you know traverse the way himself. How can he encourage others to do so, right? So a leader knows the way, and he also should be ready to go the way. He should be ready to embark on the mission that is set there, right? And the third quality, and the very important quality, is he shows the way. And what do I mean by showing the way here is that he is ready to be patient, he is ready to be kind and help his team members, his other counterparts, to embark on that mission, hand in hand with him, right? Shoulder to shoulder with him. It's not that the leader just he knows the way, he goes the way, but he's not ready to help others go the way, right? Just like a captain is there, a coach is there, he knows how to play, but he's not ready to help others patiently to learn the game, right? Then he cannot be a leader, good leader, right? Any questions here, anyone? Uh, did you understand what I was trying to tell?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, good. So, okay, I'll tell you one small story here, or a small snippet here. So, the story goes like this. The title is A Forest Trip, right? So, what happens is, once upon a time, there was a group of travelers who were going to, who were traveling into forest, and somehow they got lost in the forest, right? Somehow they because forest is not a very easy place to traverse, right? So they got lost somewhere, and then they started to discuss that, okay, how do we get out of here, right? Because it was getting dark and it was not safe to be in the forest, right? So they were discussing among themselves that what to do. Then uh, you know uh, there were three people out of that group who knew the way out, right? Who knew how to go out of the jungle, right? And the other people were not at all aware of that, right? How to get out. So in that way, these three people, they knew the way, so that means they were fit candidates for being a leader, right? Second thing, then again, when they further inquired with them that how we can get out, so two of them was only ready to go the way. Two of them was only ready to uh, to were or in fact were courageous enough to go lead the others to get out of the jungle. The other one fellow, he was very very timid, very very fearful, and he was not ready at all to go out of the jungle. He just wanted to stay there at the same place. So again we saw that the third person was unfit, became unfit for becoming a leader because he was not ready at all to go the way. Then again they further inquired from those two personalities. Then they found out that only one person was there who was ready to patiently help others and go the way, right? The other person who was there, who he on his own, he just left on his own, right? He left on his own. He did not even bother to take help others to or show them the way, right? So here we observe that that one person who was ready to patiently wait, help everyone, and take everyone along with him out of the jungle, he is the fit candidate for a leader, right? The other two or anyone else, they were not fit for becoming a leader, right? This is just a small analytical example that which can help us to understand what is who can be a leader, right? So okay, so I there's one very interesting real life story as well. This was analytical story that I told you just now, but there's a very one real world story as well, which I heard some time ago, and it really struck me very hard, and it was a very great example of leadership that we can learn, right? So I'll be telling you that story. So this okay, first let me do a quick check. How many of you know, okay, you all might be knowing this personality. Oh, okay, I want to ask is how many of you know this personality here? You have to be a space enthusiast to know this, but let's see who knows. Anyone who knows this personality here? I'm going to tell you, just I want to do a quick check.
Sir, I don't know.
Ruchi also doesn't know. Okay, no issues. So this personality is Professor Satish Dhawan, right? He was a very great scientist, uh, you know, of last century, and he was, I think, there's a research center also with the name Professor Satish Dhawan Research Center, right? So he was a very great pioneer of research in the space research in India, right? And he was also a mentor of Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, right? In a way that Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam used to work under him, his guidance, right? So we'll quickly go through this story, and I want uh, all of you, I want your help to read this story. So anyone who would like to volunteer for reading? Anyone would like to read? Vignesh, Raghav, Ruchir. Vignesh, you would like to read?
Yes, sir.
Okay, please read.
Let me tell you about my experience. In 1973, I became the project director of India's Satellite Launch Vehicle Program, commonly called as the SLV-3. Our goal was to put India's Rohini satellite into orbit by 1980. I was given funds and human resources, but was told clearly that by 1980 we had to launch the satellites into space. Thousands of people worked together in scientific and technical teams towards that goal. By 1979, I think the month was August, we thought we were ready. As the project director, I went to the control center for the launch. At 4 minutes before the satellite launch, the computer began to go through the checklist of items that needed to be checked. 1 minute later, the computer program put the launch on hold. The display showed that some control components were not in order.
Yes, thank you, Vignesh. So here we are seeing Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam is sharing one of his life incidents that around 1973, they were given the charge of launching a satellite into space, and by I think in 1979, they were ready with the project, and they were about to launch the satellite into space. But what happened was, just a few minutes before the launch, the computer started to show that something was missing, right? Something was not in place. So let's see what happened next. Okay, Raghav, would you like to read?
Sure, but there is some disturbance at my end. Is that okay?
Okay, we can try that, and let's see.
Okay. Um, my experts, I had 4 or 5 of them with me, told me not to worry. They had done their calculations and there was enough reserve fuel. So I bypassed the computer, switched to manual mode, and launched the rocket. In the first stage, everything worked fine. In the second stage, a problem developed. Instead of the satellite going into the orbit, the whole rocket system plunged into the Bay of Bengal. It was a big failure. That day, the chairman of the Indian Space Research Organization, Professor Satish Dhawan, had called a press conference. The launch was at 7 a.m., and the press conference, where journalists from around the world were present, was at 7:45 a.m. at ISRO's satellite launch range in Sriharikota.
Yeah. So what happened was, although there were some doubts that whether this is going to be a success, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam went on by manually trigger the launch, right? So it's not an easy situation, right? If you think that if we were in that situation, then we also would have been very very much confused what to do, right? But Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam confidently did that, and he failed, right? It was a mistake, but there are always mistakes, right? It's not that we can blame uh, anyone for that. So mistakes can happen with anyone. So similarly, the due to one mistake, that whole thing failed, and but the thing was that again after that there was a press conference, and someone had to take the responsibility of that thing, right? It happens, right? If a team went out to play, or be on a very important mission, then they have, someone has to convince the people that okay, why this happened, who was the what was the reason, what was the mistake, and how to you know rectify that mistake, right? So let's see how they did it. Yeah. uh Vignesh, please read. Okay, Ruchir,
Yes,
are you
sir.
able to read, or you cannot speak? We'd really like you to read. Okay, so Ruchi can't read. Okay, we'll hear from Vignesh. Yeah, please read, Vignesh.
Yes, sir. Professor Dhawan, the leader of the organization, conducted the press conference himself. He took responsibility for the failure. He said that the team had worked very hard, but that it needed more technological support. He assured the media that in another year, the team would definitely succeed. Now I was the project director and it was my failure, but instead he took responsibility for the failure as chairman of the organization. The next year, in July 1980, we tried again to launch the satellite, and this time we succeeded. The whole nation was jubilant again. Now, again, there was a press conference. Professor Dhawan called me aside and told me, "You conduct the press conference today." I learned a very important lesson that day. When failure occurred, the leader of the organization owned that failure. When success came, he gave it to his team. The best management lesson I have learned did not come to me from reading a book. It came from that experience.
Yes. So this was the story. Everyone understood, right? That instead of the first time when they failed, instead of telling Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, who was the director, and in fact he was also responsible for uh, that decision. But instead of telling APJ Abdul Kalam to take the press conference, Professor Dhawan himself went on and he took the blame of that of the failure, right? But the next time when they succeeded, uh, instead of going himself and taking the credit, he sent out Dr. AP Abdul Kalam to take the credit, right? So this is not an ordinary thing that anyone can do. If you imagine the uh, scale of the event that is happening here, it's a nation level, right? A lot of people have their hopes there, And if any mistake happens, definitely you will have a lot of blames to take onto yourself. And if you succeed, you will have a lot of praises as well. So a leader is not, we are seeing here from the example of Professor Satish Dhawan, that a leader is not one who seeks uh, credits, or one who runs away from blames, right? If someone runs away from blames, or runs towards just taking the credits, he's definitely not a good leader. He cannot be a good leader, because the people who are under him, they will never respect him, right? Just for example, we see here that Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam has such profound respect for his mentor, right? And this is one of the reasons that he was able to uh, succeed the second time, because he was sure that, I have a leader who I am sure that he will take care of me even if I fail this time also, right? Because he had seen his conduct during the first failure. So this is a leader who uh, who helps, who takes care of his people, uh, who inspires his people, encourages people in even difficult times, right? So this is very important lesson that we can learn and apply in our lives, right? Okay, so now we have certain qualities of a leader. uh, you can say a lot of things about a leader, who a leader can be. I just took the value part of it. I'm not going into the skills, because all of you very well are aware, or very well have already have experience of situations where, and all of us in fact must have been put into situations where we, let's say, we had to lead some team, we had to lead some people. And it's not something that we can learn. In my experience, it's not something that we can learn just from sessions, how to become a leader. But definitely we can learn to uh, you know uh, to deal nicely or properly with situations, difficult situation when it comes, right? And if we have good values system at place, if we have good foundation, then definitely our response to difficulties or challenges will be very, very thoroughly according to what how a leader should be, right? This is the purpose of this session, these sessions that we are doing, right? So if I talk about the qualities of a leader, one thing that we can say is, he brings about cooperation among his associates, right? He brings about cooperation among all the people out there, uh, and unites them to embark on the mission. Similarly, one more thing that we can say about leader is, he sits on values, right? It's not that just by becoming or just by gaining authority or designation one can become a leader. The perfect example are our political leaders, right? You might already be knowing that the leaders that we see in our politics, not all of them are very, very perfect leaders. In fact, most of them are not, because although they have the authority, although they have the designation, they do not have the right kind of value system within them, with themselves. And the result is that they do a lot of chaos, and a lot of haphazard things happen. And the whole nation get suffers due to that, right? So if we are put into situations where we have people who we lead, who we are leading, definitely we should think about how we can give them a good experience, how selflessly we can help them, we can selflessly encourage everyone, unite everyone, and then we can achieve the mission that we have in hand, right? Okay, so another very good example that we can learn is again from Lord Ram and Ravan. The difference here is that a leader, he is not okay. uh, it's a very common tendency right now, right? That people want to become leaders, people want to become let's say IPS officers, or people want to become politicians, people want to become managers at their respective organizations, so that they can have good, what I can say is good facilities for themselves, right? And when it comes to their purpose, why they became, or their responsibilities, they are not very serious about that. Just like if you take the example of Ravana, he was a example of a worst leader, right? He threw out a very loyal and very well-wishing brother of him, who was Vibhishana. He always used to counsel him nicely, tell him nice things, that okay, this is not good for you, this is bad for you, this can harm you, so please don't do this, dear brother. But we saw that he threw him out of you know his court. Similarly, he kidnapped Mother Sita, just out of his, becoming arrogant of his powers. On the other hand, if you observe the character of Lord Ram, we'll see that, such a virtuous king he was, right? If we see the story of how he had to banish Mother Sita, when he was, when someone put a claim that, how one can put a woman who has been kept for 1 year in other man's custody, right? So it was not that Lord Ram was not did not have faith in Mother Sita, or he doubted the character of Mother Sita. It was only uh, for the duty of being a king, that a king should always do exemplary, set an example for his countrymen, right? His people. So just for that duty, he gave up Mother Sita and banished her to go to forest, right? And uh, and there are a lot of examples that we can see, right? uh, but we are a little short of time, so I'll not go deeply into it. And one other important thing, yeah, one other, very another story that we can learn is, he recognizes unique contributions, right? So if you know the story of squirrel, does everyone know the story of the squirrel and Hanuman? Okay, anyone who doesn't know the story of the squirrel, you can put a thumbs up also, and on your Zoom app, it will let me know. Anyone who doesn't know, or you know? Okay, I'm not able to know. Okay, Raghav is saying he knows. Right. I'll just briefly tell. So, there was a squirrel when they were building the Setu. Ruchir also knows. Okay. So I'll just tell briefly. When they were building Setu Bridge, the squirrel, what was she was doing is, she was, going into the mud and putting small specks of dirt on her body, and then coming up to the rocks, and then shaking her body so that it falls. The grains of minute particles of grains falls. So Hanumanji was, when Hanumanji just kind of mocked her, and Lord Ram was very unhappy with him, right? He said that, you know don't think, Hanuman, that you are doing a great, you are lifting big boulders, and this squirrel is doing just the small dust particles, then I am more happy with you. The fact is that she is doing the best according to her capacity, right? She is doing the best according to her capacity, and you are doing the best according to your capacity, right? So in my eyes, both of you are doing equally great, right? So this is a leader that uh, he doesn't someone who is in his team, he is not you know that much skilled. Definitely people have different skill sets, and not everyone is best in everything, but a leader is one who recognizes the efforts as well, right? He uh, doesn't go for the quantity, he goes for the quality and the intention behind it, right? This is one thing that we can learn from Lord Ram, that he was equally happy with the services of the squirrel and Hanuman, right? And this is one thing that Lord Rama has, declares, uh, that Sakrid, I'll read the verse that Lord Ram says. Sakrid eva prapanno yas tavashmiti cha yachate Abhayam sarvada tashmai dadami etad vritam mama. Right? So he's saying, to whomever even once surrenders to me, pleading, I am yours, I give eternal fearlessness. This is my solemn vow. And a leader is someone who always fulfills his promise, right? Or even at least tries to fulfill his promise. That is a leader, right? And Lord Ram, we saw that he gave this blessing to Vibhishana, and that he will this protection to Vibhishana, and ultimately he made the king, Vibhishana, the king of Lanka. So in that way, he fulfilled his promise. And similarly, this is very interesting, right? Let's discuss about this. Lord Krishna becomes charioteer of his devotee Arjuna, right? So if you see right now, what the present tendency is, that one who becomes a leader, he thinks that people are meant to serve me, isn't it? We think that if we are at a bigger position, then the people who are lower than us, they should serve us, right? But a leader doesn't think like that. A good leader always thinks that, yes, these people are there to assist me, but in return I should serve them as well. It's not that just that I take assistance from them, but it's my duty also to take care of them, to help them, to serve them as well, right? So that's the concept of a servant leader, right? And it's very, very popular in today's world also, right? People are giving seminars, a lot of seminars on this concept of servant leadership, right? Being a servant here doesn't mean that we do the tasks of our people who are under us. It just means that we are nicely taking care of them, thinking that they are also equally important, and they are not no lesser than us, right? That is the feeling here. Just like Lord Krishna, although he was a supreme personality of Godhead, he was ready to become the charioteer of Arjuna, right? Although Arjuna was his friend and cousin, Lord Krishna took an inferior position, right? If you think a chariot driver, right, he is not a very glorified position, but Lord Krishna was ready to take the position of a charioteer just to serve his devotee, or serve his friend Arjuna, right? So this is a very great quality of a leader, right? These were some qualities of the leader. So okay, what we discussed today was, I'll just recap quickly, and then we will go to today's verse that we have. A leader, we saw that what is the difference between a good leader and bad leader, right? And then we went on to discuss about uh, who can be a leader, and then we saw a couple of stories, and then that of the APJ Abdul Kalam and Satish Dhawan, and then we discussed certain qualities of the leaders, right? So more or less I have covered what I wanted to cover today, right? So these points are not just for hearing, right? These points are very, very, these will only be beneficial for us if we are ready, or if we are eager to apply them into our lives, right? So if any situation comes into our lives, when we face such situations, then we should remember that what things a leader can do, what should be attitude of leader, what is the quality of a leader, and then accordingly if we conduct ourselves, then we will see that we how we nicely flourish, and we become better at whatever we do, right? So this is the last part that I'm going to cover today, the sloka, and this sloka is relevant to what we have discussed today, so that's why we have chosen this sloka. This is from Bhagavad Gita, 3rd chapter and 21. So what we do is, I'll read this first, I'll tell you the tone of it, and then I'll ask all of you to once read this, right? And then we will move ahead, right? So please listen carefully how the sloka goes. Krishna is saying, Yad yad acharati shreshthas tattad eva taro janah sayat pramanam kurute lokastad anuvartate. I'll repeat again. Yad yad acharati shreshthas tattad eva taro janah sayat pramanam kurute lokastad anuvartate. Sorry. Okay. So now I want you to read. So Let's see who can read this first. We'll go one by one. Okay. Raghav, would you like to read?
Okay. Yad yad acharati shrestha's tad tad evetaro jana sayat pramanam kurute lokas tad anuvartate.
Very good. Thank you. Okay, we can have now Vignesh to read.
Yes, sir. Yadyadacharate shriyastas tad tad eva taro janaha sayat pramanam kurute lokas tad anuvartate.
Very good. So both of you read very nicely, and Ruchir can try on his own. Okay, there's one activity for all of you. When you go after this session, you can record a video, or if possible, if you like, then audio as well, but video we would prefer. Do record a video of this sloka while reciting, and then send it to us. We'll be putting it onto our Facebook page, and everyone, so that everyone can see, right? So this is one activity that you can do after the session. So what is the meaning of this sloka that just now we read? It says, whatever action a great man performs, common men follow, and whatever standards he sets by exemplary acts, all the world pursues. Right? So Krishna is telling to Arjuna that, dear Arjuna, you know, a leader is someone who sets examples, sets standards by his examples, right? And everyone else, they follow, or they try to follow the leaders, right? So in that way, Krishna is trying to tell Arjuna here, convince him that, don't become a coward. You fight, because once, if you show cowardice here, if you do not fight, then people will they will learn from you, because you are a leader. They will, and it will not be good, right? Because this behavior is not suitable for a kshatriya, to give up weapons, right? So in that way, he's telling, similarly, for any leader, if we are also put into situation, or if there is any leader, the most important thing for that he should be doing is, he should always be cautious that whatever he does will be followed by a lot of people, and he should not, he should always try that his best, that he sets a nice example, right? If you observe, right now, we have a lot of leaders, we have film stars, we have other people who are so-called leaders for us, but we see that they do a lot of nonsense things. And this is why our civilization, our generation also is going towards following them or doing like them, and in that way they are completely wasting their important time and energy, right? So that's why it's very important that the leader should always have an exemplary character. And this is one interesting thing that comes in Srimad-Bhagavatam. This is a scripture, very very popular scripture, Srimad-Bhagavatam. It says, there's a verse which says, I don't completely remember it, but let me share it with you. Yeah, this is the verse that I'm going to show to you. And it says about how we can achieve all these. Okay, this is a conversation. How we can achieve all these great qualities that we have heard. So this verse goes like this: Yashyasti bhaktir bhagavati akinchana sarvair gunaistatra samasati surah harav abhaktasya kuto mahadguna manorathena sati dhavato bhahi. So it says, all the demigods and their exalted qualities such as religion, knowledge, and renunciation become manifest in the body of one who has developed unalloyed devotion for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva. On the other hand, a person devoid of devotional service and engaged in material activities has no good qualities. Even if he is adept at the practice of mystic yoga or the honest endeavor of maintaining his family and relatives, he must be driven by his own mental speculation and must engage in the service of the Lord's external energy. How can there be any good qualities in such a man, right? So here it is being said that, although we may see that an atheist, a person who is non-believer of God, he may be very very he may be very very exemplary in his behavior, in his conduct, But ultimately what happens is when a difficult situation comes, then his mind will be swayed away because he doesn't have a base, right? The scriptures are the base for devotees. Devotees always try to follow the things prescribed in the scriptures, right? And in that way they are following the highest standards. But for a non-believer who doesn't believe in scriptures, he doesn't have a base, and he thinks that whatever he is thinking, that is right. And in that way he even does some things that are very, very condemned according to the scriptures or according to the normal codes of the humanity, right? So in that way, the point here is that uh, you know a devotee of Lord automatically develops all these qualities because he knows what is the uh, essence of scriptures. He reads the scriptures. He knows that how a person should be, how the qualities of that be, and in that way he achieves the qualities of all the demigods, it is said, right? Just like we saw in the this, that all the qualities of the demigods become manifest in him, right? A devotee of the Lord. So this is the greatness of becoming devoted to God, becoming a believer of God. And similarly, if you know about Srila Prabhupada, if you know about the Hare Krishna movement, you'll find that a lot of people have been transformed by devotional service, right? If you can go when you go back to the session, you can search about the hippies and the Hare Krishna movement. You'll find that a lot of hippies were the people who were the kind of most degraded kind of people who were there on earth, and they used to do all sort of nonsense things like intoxication, gambling. Just they used to lie out on the streets without wearing any clothes, although they were coming from very rich and very civilized families, but they had bit they were misled and they were away from their path. So but just by becoming devotees, just by becoming coming in touch with devotees, by reading the scriptures, they were transformed into very, very exalted devotees, right? And this is the perfect example that we can see how devotional service or how bhakti or how devotion to God can help us become exemplary in our character as well, right? Okay, so this was the end of we had of our discussion today, and this is a small homework that you can do. Uh, Not necessarily you have to do all of them, but I'll really encourage all of you to do at least one of them. Either you do the sloka recitation, the sloka that we saw today. Either you record a video of yourself sharing the lessons that you learned today, or you make a poster or a drawing summarizing the lessons from today's session, right? Or anything else that you want to do, you can let us know, right? This is a small activity that you can do, and it will why we are telling you to do this, because once you reflect upon the things that you are learning, once you give it a second thought, then those things get into your mind, they get deeper into your mind, and you will be able to put them into application, right? These things very much help, right? So really encourage all of you to do this. And so now I'll stop from my side. I'll just wait for uh, you know uh, I'll open the discussion for any questions or any comments that you have, or any feedbacks that you have from today's session, and then after that we'll close the session. Okay, we're a little ahead of time, so really sorry for that. Anyone would like to share any learnings from today's session or any comments, any questions? Ruchir, Vignesh, Raghav.
No, sir, no, no.
Okay, Vignesh has no questions. Okay, thank you, Ruchir, for patiently hearing. And I really, want just I don't want you to give theoretical knowledge or anything like that. That is not the purpose of these sessions. The purpose is that you try out these learnings, you reflect upon them, you put them into application, and once you do that, you will definitely you know become better persons, right? You'll improve your personality, you will improve your character, you will improve your values, and and in that way you will it will help you to become successful as well, right? So okay, if you have no questions, then thank you for joining today and for your patient hearing, and hope to like you will do the activities told today, and we will be thank you, Raghav. So we'll be discussing the activities in the next session. I'll be you can discussing about them in the next session, okay? And we'll be also discussing a new topic. Okay, thank you everyone. We'll close it now, and have a nice week.